when it comes to learning about new products, 82% of Gen Z users trust Reddit. The biggest advantage of Reddit is that if a Reddit user has spoken about it, I will trust it way more than anyone else writing about it.
We generated about 2.5 to 3 crore rupees from Reddit without spending a single penny on paid ads. We just did a training session with MyMuse. Our team was basically consulting their team on how do you do Reddit.
Thanks to Reddit, we were able to find who our exact users were and what they want, and it really helped us build a lot of features and product for Manzuri. A lot of people think marketing on Reddit is about gaming the community and it's about finding workarounds and loopholes. But as we kind of get into this, you'll realize it's about genuinely helping the users and genuinely adding value. And that's exactly what this collaboration is about. Cool. I will get started. I'll share my screen and we'll get started.
Amazing.
So this is mostly covering Reddit and not Quora as much. There are 2 or 3 reasons for that. We think that Quora is quite saturated. Firstly, when we started working on Quora, at that time, there were very few brands. And we are one of the categories, which is, when it comes to new category creation, sexual wellness and related products is extremely new. So if it's saturated for that, then I'm sure no other brand would be able to kind of learn from that. And the other reason is that it's very specific to just India, because Quora is majorly India. Outside India, people don't use Quora as much. And it's not as replicatable, scalable. You can't really come up with a process around it. Well, honestly, it was a lot to do with luck and where we started off. And at that time, I don't know if you guys know or not, Manzuri started 1 year before MyMuse did. So at that time, there was absolutely nothing on Quora or Reddit. So we had that advantage when it came to Quora as well. So we'll be keeping most of the interaction around Reddit, but would be happy to take questions around Quora as well, like as we get into it a little bit later. So we have a lot to thank Reddit for. Manzuri is, we've always been, bootstrap brand, which is very lifestyle led and founder led. We're not doing this. We're doing this to genuinely help a certain community and a certain few thousand users. It's not the goal and ambition isn't to become a multi-billion-dollar company. That's very secondary for us. And Reddit, we're extremely grateful to it because thanks to Reddit, we were able to find who our exact users were and what they want. And it really helped us build a lot of features and products for Manzuri. I'll be showing you how, the two correlate. So here are some, just to start off with, these are the numbers that Manzuri has done from Reddit. I'll also tell you how we were able to track that. And this is not monthly or anything. This is overall in the last 2.5 years. These are the numbers we've generated overall. So we've got about 2,000 users and our website average order value is 3,500. And I'm guessing my users would also be around the same, maybe possibly a little lower because you have lubricants and your card game. So it's possible for it to be a little lower. But if you compare it to our Reddit user AOV, which is 5,500 rupees. So Reddit users spend much more on Manzuri compared to the average Manzuri user. The average repeat user rate for Manzuri is, so every user that comes to us buys 1.3 times. So roughly 30% people would come back to us. But when it comes to Reddit users alone, it's much more. So just these, this data is enough for me to conclude that Reddit is pretty awesome, has been pretty awesome for Manzuri. And I have spoken to some other founders in the West also who've leveraged Reddit to grow their brands. I'll show you some case studies of especially one SaaS founder, which has done a great job in finding their users through Reddit. And they also have something very similar to say. Gender-wise, Reddit is a little different. Females are a little lesser on Reddit compared to other platforms. So it's kind of the opposite of Instagram. Instagram is 60-40 female to male and Reddit is the other way around. So for brands which have a predominantly female audience, it's very key to get the right subreddits. We'll get into what subreddits are, etc. in a bit. Setting some structure. The first 20-30 minutes are just going to be like a crash course on what Reddit is, how it works, what Reddit users are. And then we'll get into actionable steps. And before getting into actionable steps, we can kind of take questions around the platform and more questions about Reddit and how it's different from other social media platforms. So this is how Reddit helped us in our initial journey. So in the first out of the first 500 orders we got in the first year of launching, uh, most of them were from Reddit and Quora. It gave us quite a big confidence boost. We were able to find out what content users are talking about on Reddit, and we were able to kind of, whenever we created social media posts out of questions which Redditors are asking, it did quite well for us. uh, Obviously, when you're going to Reddit users are very brutal. They don't take any kind of bullshit. So if they see through promotion or marketing or spam, they're going to call you out for it. And if, let's say, a user orders through Reddit and they don't have a good experience, literally all Reddit users are going to know about it. So you cannot, you cannot risk it. You need to be very airtight and risk proof when it comes to Reddit. So it forced us to improve our packaging, improve the testing and quality of our product, and improve our customer service as well, because we knew that if we disappoint a Reddit user, we're pretty screwed. And the most important thing which helped Manzuri was that the initial orders we got from Reddit is what allowed us to validate our business, allowed my co-founder Astha to leave her job and join join Manzuri full time. So just a quick recap: I left my job 4 to 5 months before Astha did. And then we were waiting for us to get some initial traction, make a little bit of money. And that's when it was decided that Astha would also be leaving. So she left. We moved to Pune, got ourselves an office space there. And none of this would have been possible without Reddit. I'm sure we would have figured something else out had this not happened. But at least in our journey, it's played a very big role for us. This is kind of like a overview about how I use Reddit in my personal life and how millions of users do the same thing. And this is something I think a lot of founders and a lot of marketers are not aware of. Before that, I'll go to my Google Meet and I'll try to understand how many of you use Reddit regularly. Like, would you call yourself a Reddit power user? Anybody here? Could you raise your hands? Okay, nobody. None of you use Reddit. Okay, that's very interesting. Because as marketers, so firstly, as consumers, Reddit is super helpful.
Yeah.
Anything you're looking for, the answer that you will get on Reddit will be the most unfiltered, raw, and authentic answer. So that's even if I was not a business owner, if I was just a regular user, I would be addicted to Reddit, which I am. And as a marketer also, whenever I need to do research and I need something which is not paid or not, okay, when we look for, I'll just give you an example. Let's say I'm looking for, and this is like a real example, right? So I want to have the best ramen in Delhi, in Mumbai. So I will never Google it. I will Google it, but I will add Reddit as a suffix at the end of it. And this is something I do for all my searches. I don't use Google at all. I can't remember the last time in my life that I have used Google without using the word Reddit. And the reason is these are all unpaid. These are all real users. Whereas if I just type best ramen in Mumbai, I will get Google my business listings, and then I'll get your LBB, and I'll get all these other commercial platforms which are mostly paid, Curly Tails and stuff like that. And I don't absolutely trust them, and Reddit users also do not trust them. So this is just how, again, not just me, could be buying ramen, could be gifting something for your parents, could be researching on the best iPhone, best car, anything. Reddit is how we use it, is how we get our answers. So this would be perhaps for the people on this call, it may not be new information, but there are millions, and it's not like thousands, it's millions. We'll get into the statistics of Reddit in a while, and you'll kind of understand what is the scale that we're talking about of people using this mechanism to find answers to what they're looking for. So it's not just about consumer product. It's not just about purchasing stuff. It's about relationships. It's about parenting. Any information I need, I will go to Reddit. And again, I'm not trying to, extrapolate my personal journey and tell you that just because I use Reddit like this, other people also will use Reddit like this. This is literally how 50% of Americans use Google, by the way. Reddit is 50% of Reddit's traffic comes from America. And even though India is the third largest Reddit market, it's just about 8 to 10%, which is also quite a lot. But yeah, this is standard. And once we get more into data, you'll realize how this trend is going to catch on and how more and more people over the next few years are going to use this exact journey to learn about products, about what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, etc. This is something that also happens on Reddit a lot. Sometimes, even when you search without using the suffix Reddit. So over here, if you see, I'm consciously typing whatever my search query is, followed by the word Reddit, because I'm a Reddit user and I only want Reddit related answers. However, if you look at this question, how do I ask my boyfriend to go down on me? In this question, there's no Reddit suffix added, but still Quora and Reddit would rank on the first two positions. And that just shows that if your answer or post or comment has enough traction on it, it will rank on Google for even non-Reddit users. And non-Reddit users also trust Reddit. It's not that they don't trust Reddit. I'm sure the people here who've kind of not raised their hand on whether they use Reddit or Quora, you've also, like, it's not that you never go to it. And please correct me if I'm wrong. When you're searching, you would also eventually somehow land up on Reddit at least once a month or twice a month.
For
It's not
sure. Yes.
right. That's just because it's
Yeah.
very big on Google search. So it happens.
It's great for recommendations for sure.
Right. Um, Now there are some intangibles, uh, and optimizing for Reddit SEO is entirely different from optimizing for regular SEO. So Reddit is not just a social media platform. Reddit has to be used as a combination of social and search. The teams working on Reddit, you should, like, especially the content writer that is working on Reddit should not just be a part of the social media team. That same content writer should have a very intimate relationship with your SEO team as well, because there's a very big overlap. I'll also show you how there's an overlap between Reddit and performance marketing, uh, and how you can kind of leverage that for creating ideas and content for performance marketing, reduce the effort it takes to test performance marketing creatives, etc. We'll get into that a little bit later. The biggest advantage of Reddit is that if a Reddit user has spoken about it, I will trust it way more than anyone else writing about it. Maybe, it would be equivalent to an authority writing about it, just because of how authentic I know it will be for sure. I would rather trust a Redditor compared to a random stranger any day of the week. So when you rank on Reddit, you are piggybacking on the trust of the Reddit community. That's like the biggest advantage. Second reason is brands right now don't know how to use Reddit. It will take a while for them to figure it out. It's a journey, and there isn't enough education around it. So as a result, you will have less competition in the market. I'll talk about some more barriers to entry actually over the next few slides, so you'll understand how it's not everybody's cup of tea. You do need one or two people who are like very dedicatedly looking at this. And with us, it was mostly set up by interns in the first 6 months. And whatever traction we got, 80% of it was done just by interns. So, the people on this call and other people watching this, it's not something for which you need very specialized, skilled resources. In fact, it's way easier compared to organic social. You don't need to know Canva, you don't need to know designing, you don't need to know video editing. All you need to know is about the product, about your users, and be half decent at writing content. So the barrier to entry technically is very low, but people don't know about it, and as a result they still they screw up Reddit. Most brands screw up Reddit, and hopefully after after the next 30 minutes, brands watching this should hopefully not screw up Reddit. And once you rank on, it takes you very little time to rank on Reddit on a certain keyword compared to ranking on Google for the same keyword. So it's much, much easier to rank on Reddit for something if you do it very consciously compared to regular SEO. Here are some Reddit stats. So Reddit has about 40 million active users compared to 2.2 billion on Instagram. So it seems that it's just one fourth the size of Instagram, which doesn't really instill a lot of confidence. But when you realize that 99.99% of Reddit traffic comes from organic search, then you will realize the difference in the intent of these users. Everybody understands that social media is very push based and organic search is very pull based. So these are users actively searching for this thing. So even though the number is one fourth, the relevancy is so high that if you're able to rank for this, the kind of reaction you will get from your customers, if you're able to build trust and do storytelling correctly, will far outweigh what you will do on social media. And of course, you cannot compare it to ads when it comes to scale, but in terms of ROI, we personally have not seen anything which could give as high as ROI as Reddit can. It's the sixth most visited website in the world. In fact, if you look at the top websites of the world, you can see that Reddit overtook Pornhub as the sixth most largest website just last year. It's even ahead of Twitter, Yahoo, Bing. So that again just adds to the strength of Reddit as a platform. And it's pretty interesting how we, as marketers, we don't even consider it as a platform. If you look at your top 11 over here, you'll realize TikTok is not here, right? Even if TikTok was here on, let's say, okay, I'll just ask a very simple question to all marketers. If TikTok was legal in India, would you be using TikTok or not? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But it would still be much lesser, in terms of Reddit when it comes to the popularity and when it comes to website traffic. And that's the kind of mindset switch I would like other brands to also get on board with, that just because a platform is not visual and just because there aren't videos, it does not mean that it's a bad platform. It's the exact reason why it's such a powerful and strong platform. So okay, I'll get back to the statistics. All content on Reddit is UGC, which is a very big deal because brands are not creating content for Reddit. They don't know how to do that. They try to do it, they fail at doing it, then they stop doing it. And as a result, all the content on Reddit is UGC compared to, Instagram, where if you remove all the brands, you will probably reduce 30 to 40% of the Instagram pages and traffic, etc. The last point is my favorite, which is when it comes to learning about new products, 82% of Gen Z users trust Reddit. While this is an American survey, there has been no Indian survey like this. First thing we understand is that we do copy the West when it comes to user behavior. So if 82% of Gen Z users are using Reddit to make a purchase decision in the US, that trend will for sure come to India. If you speak to an average 20-year-old and you ask them whether you use Reddit or not, most hands are going to go up. So if you're a brand which is optimizing for younger population, Reddit is going to be pretty big for you. Now, before we get into how Reddit works, are there any questions that I can answer around what we've discussed so far?
I'm not sure if you'll cover this later, but in general, I was curious about the point that you had mentioned earlier as to how SEO strategy for website and SEO strategy for Reddit is different. Like if you could cover that later, we can go into that, or we can.
Let's take this up at the end of the call. While I'm not covering that in detail, but I'll be happy to answer some questions about that at the end of this call.
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
So why is Reddit so authentic? This also brings us back to the barriers to entry. Why is there a slightly higher barrier to entry for Reddit? So there's something called karma points, which Reddit has. And karma point is basically internet points or internet tokens that users receive for providing value on Reddit. So if I write a post on Reddit, if I have a comment on Reddit, if I get an upvote, I will get karma points based on my actions. So for example, for every upvote I get, I will roughly get 1 karma point. And upvote is basically a like that a user does. And it's not as easy to get a like on Reddit as it is to get on Instagram and other platforms, you need to provide genuine value to your users. So you need to accumulate karma points before you can do any kind of posting. So for example, if you reach out to a Reddit moderator for on a subreddit, and you tell them, I want to do XYZ activity with you, and we want to speak about our brand, or we want to introduce something new to the market, they will look at your Reddit profile. They will see how many karma points you have. If you don't have enough karma points, they will get to know that you are not a frequent Reddit user. You're just a new Reddit user or a marketer who's trying to sneak their way into the Reddit community, and they won't be nice to you. However, if you have high number of karma points, it's visible. You can go to any profile, any user's profile, and see how many karma points they have. If you have high number of karma points, your value just increases exponentially. The good part about karma points, it's not like followers. So on Instagram, the only way you can measure the authenticity of a user is how many followers they have. But you don't get followers in exchange of helping others. You get karma points in exchange of helping others. And that's the difference between Reddit and Instagram. Let's cover subreddits. Subreddits are basically the equivalent to Facebook groups or Instagram pages, you can say. Just to be a part of certain subreddits, you need a number of karma points. You cannot. So the goal of a subreddit is not to increase the number of followers it has. Unlike Instagram, the goal of a subreddit is to have people who can help each other and take advice from each other and are very relevant for each other, which is why there are so many subreddits. Even just to become a part of those subreddits, you need to accumulate enough karma points. Otherwise, you won't even be able to become a part of them. And if you do become a part of them, you cannot post anything there because you don't have enough karma points. So they're very strict that way. And that's kind of what makes it so extremely authentic. You cannot just game the system. Even if you're a marketer, even if you're constantly promoting stuff, but simultaneously you're adding immense value to users, that's fine. You are allowed to do that because you have helped enough users to be able to deserve to promote your product. You cannot just get up one day and be like, oh, I want to promote my product on Reddit. The Reddit community won't take that well. Now, the other advantage of Reddit is that the posts are permanent. What does that mean? It means that on Instagram, I do a post today. Within a few weeks, at the most a few months, the organic reach of that post disappears completely. However, on Reddit, that post will remain there forever. In fact, the more comments are added on a Reddit post, the more time it will remain on the first page of Google. And it will keep on getting traffic consistently and regularly. So a Reddit activity you do today will be relevant for you 4, 5, 6 years later as well. And that is, again, the ROI on effort on Reddit is way more, because a social media post will give you traction just for a few weeks at best. But Reddit, while it may not get millions of users instantly, it's there to stay, especially if you do it well.